Greetings, everyone. I'm Jonathan Bailey from Plagiarism Today. I was going to do a whole lengthy series about South by and do it like for the entire week. But something came up, and I've been getting a lot of email and a lot of talk about the recent move by a group called the Artist Bill of Rights. Here's the actual post that they did on this topic, a screenshot of it, I should say. Basically speaking, the talk is that they got Amazon rather to agree to accept DMCA notices regarding Pinterest. Basically, the idea is simple. Pinterest and its images are hosted on Amazon, and therefore they contacted Amazon and said, hey, are you going to handle any DMCA notices that we send regarding Pinterest images? And Amazon, of course, said yes. This has been all over the news. Mashable covered it. A whole bunch of other blogs covered it in recent days. It's kind of weird. The story actually went online on the Artist Bill of Rights site on the 17th, but here we are on the 20th and 21st, and it's just now really starting to get a lot of attention. I find this move interesting, though. One is, I'm not very surprised by it. I'm not really that impressed by it. Um, Amazon hosts Pinterest, so if Pinterest is hosting anything copyright infringing, then of course Amazon is going to take it down. That's Amazon's role underneath the DMCA. Now, this isn't to say that they might take everything down directly. They may, in many cases, forward it on to Pinterest for them to remove. So it could end up being just that it's going to be a roundabout way to get a DMCA notice to Pinterest. I know a lot of hosts that do that. So that's A. And B is, like I said, there's just no surprise here. It's hosted on Amazon servers. Amazon does comply with DMCA notices, albeit slowly. We're getting to that in a minute. So obviously they would comply with it. There's no real shock here. There's no real victory here. This is all exactly what the law was designed and intended to do. It's not a big win over Pinterest or anything like that. And the real big issue I have with it is I can't for the life of me understand why you would do this. I mean, there seems to be an idea, and the general consensus I've heard regarding this is that the Artist Bill of Rights thinks Pinterest is not very quick or very compliant with the DMCA. They're taking too long, they're doing something wrong with it, and so they want to go behind their backs, over their heads, whatever, to handle these notices. And I get that, but Amazon sucks. I mean, I hate to be so brutal about it, but Amazon's probably the worst company I handle DMCA notices for on a regular basis. They are incredibly slow. They didn't even have an email on their site until a few months ago. In fact, I had an article queued up to go live about how Amazon was thwarting DMCA notices when they changed their DMCA policy to include an email address. And frankly, they do comply, but it can take several weeks to get any responses. In fact, I got a DMCA notice I sent well before I went to South by. Just got the response to it, I think, yesterday, that it was removed. And frankly, actually, it wasn't removed. It hadn't been cleared out of all the caches yet, so I've got to check again today and see if it's been removed. Long story short, Amazon is a terrible company to deal with, and I don't see how this is a likely improvement over dealing directly with Pinterest. I know this particular group seems very upset with Pinterest, and I mean, look at my history. I'm not particularly thrilled with them either, but I don't know if going over Pinterest head is the way to resolve this. If Pinterest gets 40 million DMCA notices and they have to dedicate a ton of manpower into answering these, they might do something about their practices and they might actually change what they're doing. So if that were the case, they probably would change their business. But if you keep forwarding to Amazon and Amazon takes them down, especially if it takes them down without Pinterest having to do anything, I don't see how this really hurts Pinterest. I mean, make Pinterest do the legwork. Make them spend the time, the money, and the energy taking care of the DMCA notice. If they're not being compliant, then by all means go over their head. But try Pinterest first, because A, you'll probably get a quicker response, and B, it's getting more in their face, and it's challenging them more on their copyright issues. That's all I have to say on that. I understand a lot of artists are frustrated with it, but I don't know if this is the way to go. On that note, thank you very much. I'm going to sign off a little early today. I got lots to do, so I will see you guys tomorrow.